Moving on to Sorority House Massacre Part 2. Now, this is a bootleg, if you can't tell, because they don't make this fucking thing. This is something I would love for them to release in a triple pack, you know, Arrow or Scream Factory or Vestron or somebody get on this. I don't know who owns the rights, but man, we need a real release of this. This is terrible. The copies are not good. The tagline for this movie is it's cleavage versus cleavers, and then it's like the result is deadly delta. So fucking stupid. But I remember when I was a kid seeing this cover and being like, it's cleavage versus cleavers. Man, instant sold. And I think where this film gets right and the last film didn't is this film knows how stupid it is. It knows how cheesy it is. And it embraces it fully. And that's why I have such a better time with this one and the next one. And the next one, we're going to get into all that with the next one. But the next one is very odd when it comes to like what it is. The fact that it is all the same actors again playing different roles. And one of the characters is actually retained from the last. We'll get into that when we get to the next one. But God, I love 2 and 3 so much. I think the first thing to talk about here is the coolest character in this movie and one of the coolest characters in horror history to me, Orville Ketchum. I mean, how awesome is this character? He has this reoccurring joke that's in this movie and in the next one where he like reaches into his pants like, hey, I got something for you, and they all freak out and he like pulls out something like that isn't his dick, obviously, and they're like, oh God. I love that. I love that the humor is retained and it's the same character because he's in the next one as well. And I love that he's the Kenny of the movie, you know, from South Park, where he just keeps getting killed in the movie and just keeps coming back. And it's just completely nonsense. It's like, no, that would have killed him. No, that would have killed him. No, that would have killed him. And it just doesn't matter. It just keeps playing the humor of this guy cannot die. And it's like, is he the villain? Is he not the villain? What in the fuck is going on? Now, and the next thing, I mean, the thing that it has to be talked about that is just so bizarre is the fact that this one takes place in the house from the first movie, but it plays clips from Slumber Party Massacre, and Orville Ketchum, when he's narrating those scenes, he's giving a completely different story from the first one, like the first Sorority House Massacre. He's not telling the story of that movie. He's telling a completely new story that wasn't told in either of these films. So this is a sequel to one, showing clips from another movie unrelated and a completely different story not attached to either being told. And it's like he got the wife first, and in Sorority House or Slumber Party Massacre, that's like just some random girl. It's like clearly not his wife. It's like a young kid. So it's very odd. It's very odd. I've never seen that in all the fucking shit I've ever watched. I have never seen what I just said. It is bizarre. I know that, like, I was reading some of the trivia, and I was like, okay, I guess that kind of explains some of it, but it doesn't explain all of it. I'd love to look more into that to figure out why they used this and said this and was that all over the place. Like, there's no reference outside of that house, the look of the house, to the first one. Why wasn't this just a sequel to Slumber Party Massacre then? If you're going to use... who knows? This is craziness. I love obscure horror like this because there's so many great connections and so many, like, especially like I love Italian sequels and stuff like the La Casa series or all the unrelated sequels that they did in Italy, like Zombie 2, which was supposed to be like a sequel to Dawn of the Dead and all that stuff. I love that crap. Or like, the big conundrum with House 3 being the horror show in America, but House 3 overseas. All that random fucking trivia. I love this kind of stuff, and this is what I live for. But yeah. And this one, it is just packed to the brim with boobage. It is crazy. There is like a 5-minute long, basically montage scene of just each character getting like a minute to show their tits to you. And like, not just like, oh, I'm just, over here and I'm just casually doing, like, in front of the camera, like, soaping them up, rubbing them. They're like going up and down, not even showing the girl's face half the time. And we do this awesome thing that we do in a lot of these movies when they're just wanting to show a girl taking a shower at full body, especially, and from a distance. They have to take the shower curtain off the shower. I've talked about this in one other review, but it's like, who showers without a shower curtain? Now, in their defense, story-wise, this is like in an abandoned house that's been, unoccupied for like 5 years. They couldn't sell it because of murders that took place there. So there may not be a shower curtain. They probably didn't bring one. And they were taking a shower in cold water because the hot water hadn't been turned on yet. They had the electricity turned off, but I guess the water was on and the heat wasn't, the gas. But yeah, it's just funny. It's just literally just one girl to the next, and it's like, as soon as they're on the screen, as soon as they cut to the next girl, she's just like hits out, sitting there putting on, a nightie or whatever, because I think originally this movie was called Nighty Nightmare, and they all get into their nighties and they're all like fake tits, and it's wonderful. It's so wonderful. It is just as gratuitous as humanly possible without being just straight up pornography. Oh God, this is the kind of movie you have on, and that's the scene when your mom, of course, walks in the room. Like, the rest of the movie was, so won't do that, and then like this 5 minutes, and your mom will walk in the room and be like, this is what I rented you? All right, okay, it needs to go off. It's so funny. Anyway, and the acting, I mean, is it even worth talking about? The acting is so piss poor. Like, some of the names, when I was going through the names, like one girl's name, like Barbie or Bambi or something, it was like so fitting. I was looking through the list and I'm like, of course your fucking name is Bambi. Like, of course it is. Bambi or Barbie, something insane. I was just like, yeah, no shit, it's Barbie. Bambi. Whatever. Same shit. And they're like playing with a Ouija board, and once it says that it's Hochstetter, the little whatever the fuck this thing's called. Oh, I know what that's called. Damn, I'm gonna beat myself up later for not remembering. Oh shit! Comment and tell me what an idiot I am. Fuck. Whatever. So plant? No, I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings now. I'm all over the place. But anyway, it flies off the board and it goes to the fireplace, like out of their hands, like across the room. And one of the girls' explanations is, a bolt of lightning must have hit the house and it sent a static charge through the house, which lifted the thing and threw it into the fireplace. I was like, well, at least she tried to explain it to her friends. And one of them's like, yeah, right. But I thought that was funny that they actually even went there. It was just this girl's like, well, how about this? Like, just the most random shit ever that makes no sense at all. And when they're not just showing their tits outright, like, they throw on their nighties, which are of course white, and then they go outside and it's raining and their tits just get completely soaked and they're just wearing wet t-shirts for like another 10 minutes. And then the detectives in this movie, which have no purpose in this movie at all. None. Like, they come at the end, but it could have just been random cops. There was no purpose for them in this movie except for them to go to a strip club and interview one of the only survivor of the Hochstetter murders, who is a stripper and does like a 3-minute long strip scene while the fucking detectives sit there and watch it. And then we get Savannah, the old porn star from the 90s, who comes out and does a dance. She must have been 19, 20 years old in this movie, because she died when she was like 23. And she's like, this is like 1990, and she was, I think she was like 20 in this movie. She's got such a sad story, man. Oh, it was sad to see her. And she like got in a car wreck, and she fucked up her face, and she just couldn't handle not being pretty. And she like looked in the mirror, and she saw her face was fucked up, and she shot herself. Like, oh, it's terrible. Reminds me of Seven, when he like glues the phone to the hand, or the pill bottle, and he like mutilates her face, and it's like, what do you want? Like, her vanity got the best of her. It just reminds me, that's really, really sad. I wonder if that was based on her at all. Ruined Pauly Shore. It just fucking devastated him. Anyway, I'm not gonna get all sad here, but yeah, I was just watching this movie like, what purpose do these detectives have? Do they have any purpose at all? No? Okay. They're just there to go to a strip club. Why not? Fucking, there's like 15 straight minutes of tits in this movie. No complaints. And yet another thing to like add insult to injury when it comes to the continuity of even calling this a sequel, with it using footage from a different movie and not paying attention, all that other stuff. In this movie, the killer ends up being a spirit who's possessing the girls in the movie. So it doesn't even try, it's not even an attempt at a sequel in any way outside of that they use the same house. I think that's the same house. It sure as fuck looks like the same house. But outside of that, it is nothing like the first movie. Which, I prefer this movie, so I'm glad it's nothing like the first movie. And at the end, Orville, of course, lives and goes to the hospital. And there's actually like a after credit sequence, like right after, like they show everyone's names and their pictures and of them. Orville gets out of the hospital, and they're like, he's overjoyed or joyous or whatever. And throughout the whole movie, he's just like, and he just gives like a thumbs up, and they're like, he's overjoyed or something. I thought it was so fucking funny, man. His character is legendary. It's so funny, and I'm just beyond happy that he was in the next one, and all the girls from this one are in the next one as different characters, because he plays himself, and that's his name in real life, Orville Ketchum. Plays himself. I can't say it enough. I love it, and I love that it ends with a "the end?" question mark, and it's like, nope, there's Hard to Die, which I think is named after Orville Ketchum, because he can't die. So yeah, anyway, I will watch Sorority House Massacre 3 tomorrow. Fans of this series, let me know. All right, guys.